The greatest joke ever written. Part 1. A man is moving into a neighborhood and being greeted by his neighbor. The neighbor says, "Welcome to the neighborhood. What brings you here?" The man says, "I'm the new professor of logic over at the university." The man says, "On logic, huh? What does that mean?" The man says, "Basically, it means I can extrapolate a lot of information about a system by only knowing a few key points of information." Neighbor didn't understand. So the man says, "Let me give you an example." And he asks him, "Do you own a lawnmower?" And the neighbor says, "Yes." And he goes, "Well, if you own a lawnmower, then I can assume you have a lawn. If you have a lawn, then you probably have a house. And if you have a house, you probably have a wife. And if you have a wife, you're probably straight." All of this was extrapolated by just getting one piece of information about you. That's deduction. That's logic. The neighbor says, "Oh, that's cool." Later that day, the neighbor goes to a bar to meet with a friend. The friend says, "Hey man, how you doing?" And the neighbor says, "Good. I just met my new neighbor who's the professor of logic over at the university." And his friend at the bar says, "Logic? Well, what does that mean?" He said, "Basically it means he can get a bunch of information about you by just knowing a couple of things." The friend doesn't really understand. He says, I don't get it." The neighbor says, "Well, let me give you the same example he gave me." And he asks his friend, "Do you own a lawnmower?" His friend says, "No." And the neighbor says, "Well, that means you're fucking gay."